Hey there, future me. I don't know. What's the deal? It's Monday morning. We're in December now, and candidacy is what, like, uh, 9 plus 96. It's under 105 hours from now. I'm feeling I, I'm feeling, yeah, I'm feeling. um, I don't know. A lot of things I have to study for. Like Prof shipped out like the list of things that I need to prepare for. I suppose. Well, not today. It was yesterday because it's only been morning for, well, I guess a little bit over 2 hours. But yeah, that's what a time to be alive, right? I guess like between like then and the last audio, like I guess I just uploaded the video about like an hour or so ago. My internet died for some reason, so I might as well record, I guess, before going to sleep. So yeah, I guess between like then and last audio, like though the week was like super eventful, it's weird to think that it's only been a week. Like, well, we'll try to go through all the stuff that happened in order. So like on Monday, I ended up giving that like presentation to like the grad student crowd. It went all right. I got like a few questions thrown at me by like some of my like astronomy pals, right, over like I guess the astronomy stuff. It's like, so you gather the data, or like, well, you're citing these papers that gather data, but like, do you actually know like how they gather the data? And it's like, huh, I guess not. I gotta ask Prof, like, what does all this stuff mean? Like, what do you mean they just shot the spacecraft out into space? Like, how did they actually collect all this stuff? So that's like things that I should still touch upon, because right now it's still like feels very, I know jargon, but I don't think I can just say the jargon during the candidacy thing, because they'll probably ask me to elaborate on what the jargon is, and then I'll be, I guess, caught with my pants down. Right? That won't be good. Um, okay, so I did the candidacy thing, or I did like the present to your peers thing. There was like tons of free food. I got like some of the residual free food, and that was pretty sick. Then I went to the, I guess, bike place, patched up the inner tube, got to, I guess, see how it works in real time. I guess taking off like the back wheel. I thought like the getting it back like on the gear shaft would be like really hard, but it actually isn't that bad. So I guess I just psyched myself out there. Tuesday was a bit of a doozy because I woke up, played video game as any good, it's under 2 weeks until candidacy grad student would. Then I was gonna pack up and like actually go to the office and like sit down and write some stuff when my computer died. It's like, wait a minute, but my computer's been plugged in. I look at the charging brick and I'm like, this looks all right. And then one of the wires like broke, right? So it's just kind of like, uh-oh. Like I guess I've had the G3 for what, like 6 years now. Got it like whenever has it been 6 years? Yeah, I guess it's been like, yeah, it's been over 6 years, like over 6 years. Got it like right before I was, I guess, going to undergrad, right? And so I think I coiled up like the charging brick like too many times, and eventually the wires like came out and like wore, and so I guess one of the wires was just like got bent too many times where it tore. So that was really scary, because like not having a laptop for like a whole day during like the candidacy stretch would have been really really bad, because I guess I didn't have things necessarily, like I had too many local files that I was like relying on, and even if like everything was on the cloud, I would just have to use the computer at work, which means that I'd have to always just be in the office instead of being at home. And I guess even though it's like not too far away, right, just like a bike ride away, it still would be kind of uneasy. I don't know. Uh, I was thrown for a bit of a loop, and I was certainly I think it's a bit extreme to say I was put into a state of distress, but I was certainly not feeling too great. I was panicking a little bit, right? Ended up getting a ride off of one of my friends to like a nearby electronics store to buy like a third party charger, because they didn't sell like Dell chargers, and like it was like higher wattage. And we plugged it in, and it just didn't, like, it said charging but didn't actually charge. So I ended up like, fortunately, one of my undergraduate buddies, who I guess I ran office hours for like about a semester ago and got like meal swipes off of, right? He had like a spare Dell charger that was like higher grade, but I was still able to use it. So I've been mooching off of his charger for a while. I ended up ordering like just a charger from, I guess, on Dell's like official website, and it showed up today. So that, or I guess, well, yesterday. So that's pretty sick. Always good to have that. Not even close. Definitely not yeah, honestly, if that happened like this week, I would have probably lost it. um, what Wednesday was the what happened Wednesday? Wednesday, I ran the last lab of the semester, so that was pretty cool. One of the kids, I guess, like previously, like what, like 2 weeks ago, was like, "Yo, Green, you should like bring jams. Like where are the jams?" I was like, "What do you mean jams? Like music?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I got like, I guess the Bluetooth speaker that one of my pals gave me when she was moving away, and brought it in and played some like I think I played like Shadow at Noon's like No Thoughts Head Empty. That's a pretty solid playlist. And then put on like a few songs per request, I guess, of the people who were still around. I got a I got a standing ovation, or I guess they're all just kind of standing because they have to stand while doing the lab. But I got a round of applause. I was told to give like a speech, and I was like, well, I guess like you guys didn't necessarily choose to be here, but I hope you all had fun, right? Did the go do science, right? And so that was, I guess it's a bit corny to say, but I was a bit touched. And some of the kids, I guess, asked if I was going to be a TA like next semester, right? And unfortunately not, because, or well, I don't really. I like hanging out with the kids and kind of like helping them out with the lab and trying to make the thing seem fun. I don't like grading. I find the grading interface to just be kind of it just could be so much better, right? Like grades go clears. I don't know why we're using this like weird other thing. It's just, ugh. And they also have to pay for it too, which just kind of sucks. Um, but yeah, anyways, like I guess some of them were asking if I was going to be like a TA next semester, and I was like, no, sorry. So that's kind of rough, but I don't know. Like I guess this is kind of like the end of the line for all the mandatory TA stuff. I'm still going to try to, I guess, get my hours in right and interface with the undergrads, but I guess as much as I don't necessarily, as much as I would rather interact with like the physicists and the astronomers than the engineers, just because the engineers generally are more, I don't blame them, right? It's more like they just kind of want to. Physics is something that they have to take and not necessarily something that they want to take. They want to take the engineering classes because they find that to be more relevant to their major and more interesting because that's, well, what they want to do. They want to be engineers, not physicists, right? And so it's a bit harder to, I guess, try to convince them sometimes to, hey, this stuff is actually really fun. But yeah, no, it's just one of those. I do like interacting with them because I guess it's like one of those things where you can kind of take a step back and look into see what it's like. I guess put myself in the shoes of like people who are different from me, right, and still try to work together with them. It's, I don't know, some kind of, ooh, look, diverse experiences, right? Interact with different kinds of people. Go see the world, or something like that, right? What happened? Oh, Thursday. So I went to like another free food event. I guess like the undergrad physics and yeah, the undergrad physics group had like their, I guess, end of the year meeting. I was invited because like me and like Step and like what that other guy like ran like the tech workshops. So we all got invited. So me and the other guy showed up. Step, I guess, was not feeling too well. I think he's still not feeling well. If he's listening, I hope he's better. Um, yeah, so that was pretty sick. Got like a half a tray of like fajitas, beef and chicken fajitas sitting in the fridge right now. So that'll hopefully keep me full for a bit. Or keep me full for a bit. So that's pretty sick. And then on Friday, what happened Friday? Oh yeah, on Friday I met with Prof over like the web because he wasn't in the office, but he was around on Thursday. I just hadn't finished the write up. I finished the write up, or at least like I got the write up to a point to where it was deliverable, right? To where I could ship it off to like the rest of the people in the candidacy group and just say like, hey, I did it. Here's all the stuff. The works cited was really scuffed. There was no bibliography, and all the citations were garbage citations and not like the actual nice citations where you click on them. Yeah, but we got it to a shape. We got it to a state to where it was good. Put captions on all of our figures, removed all of like the informal comments that are now just commented out in the tech document. So yeah, that was good. And then on Saturday, on Saturday I booked the plane tickets for the winter break. I'm gonna be flying over to see my dad in person for the first time in 2.5 years. So that's going to be pretty cool. Looking forward to that. I think it'll be pretty weird, I guess, because it's, I guess, living with, him again. He's probably going to get on to me and be like, son, all you do is sit on your computer and play video game. Or something like that. We'll see. So yeah, what happened? And I guess Sunday, Not much happened. Like yesterday, I guess I hung out with like Moon in Arizona. Got groceries with them. Went to like some pho place. So that was pretty nice. Stuck back, and I guess like Arizona's trying to get into Magic the Gathering. So he's been making. I guess he has a deck. It's okay, I guess. Like I kind of helped him like buy like play sets of things so there would be more consistency. But I don't actually have play sets of things. Now I'm kind of playing against like a deck that's a bit more consistent, but I don't actually have decks like I think I have enough cards to like make a deck that's like sizable or like that'll like be good enough. But I need to make sure it's like still fun to play against. But that takes brain power, right? And I don't know if we can I guess afford that with candidacy around the bend. But yeah, I don't know. I guess this is just what is this audio really just going to be like a vlog like audio? We're like what almost 11 minutes in, and it's just been me talking about like how the week's been. Right, time goes by really slow. I suppose whenever like it's things are like this. I mean, feels like the school year regularly if I jump back to like a year ago, right, when I was still taking classes and still having to grade labs. Like, sure, there were still labs and all this other stuff, but it was all kind of a bit of a cycle. You didn't really think too hard, didn't really focus too hard, and it just all kind of happens in a blur, right? Like, you blink and the week's over, right? You just kind of hope that the week is. I guess like I'd be hoping for the week to end, right? Just I just got to hold out until the weekend, just got to finish the assignments and do all that stuff, and the weekend will show up eventually. Whereas now it's kind of like I hope the days are as long as possible, right? Because every day that passes by, we end up getting ever so closer to candidacy, and I don't think I'm ready for candidacy just yet. There's so much stuff that I have to look at, right? Like Prof shows up and he's like, "Oh yeah, you should know how to like derive like the thing for the Fermi energy," and it's like, bro, like I vaguely remember what the Fermi energy is. I look it up on Wikipedia. I'm like, oh man, so that's what this thing is. Oh, dude, and now I just have to remember all of these things. One of my, I guess, like because no one in my year, or I guess, yeah, no one in my year, I think in general, who's taken the candidacy so far or will take candidacy like in the year, like is in like the same subfield, so they're all going to get like asked like different batches of questions. So I can't really, I guess, depend upon them. And so it's nice, I guess, that at least Prof sent me like this list of things that I should study. But it looks like the things that I should study are like what? They're all just like, oh yeah, it's just a formula. It's just it's just a formula. It's just a general thing. How do we derive the formula? That's kind of chill. But like, I do know that like what I should be wary of are these like things called like what Fermi problems, which are, I guess like I remember learning them as like back of the envelope calculations, right? So it's like, oh, okay, so if you know like I guess the Earth revolves around the sun in a year, and we know the distance from like the sun to the Earth, we should be able to calculate like just vaguely estimate the mass of the sun. Just use Kepler's third law. If you remember the gravitational constant, right? You just set the thing up, t squared equals kr cubed. K is like it's either 4 pi squared over gm or gm over 4 pi squared. What? So the t over it's probably 4 pi over gm, so that the period works out. Let's not geek out too hard. But yeah, like it's one of those things. And you can say, oh, okay, well then from this I can get that m is like approximately like 10 to the 30 kg. Cool. And so like stuff like that is like sure, I guess, but I figure it's going to be over equations that are not super familiar, like, or I guess I'm not super accustomed to just yet. Right? I think there's stuff like I figure I might have to derive something like, oh, what's the fine structure constant? It's like, I know it's 1 over 137, but I'm not really sure how to write it in terms of, our fundamental charge, Planck's constant, speed of light, probably throw like a pi in there or something, right? The electron mass, maybe, right? And then like a bunch of other things. And then something else that like Prof is like explicitly mentioned to me is like, you should know how to derive the Thomson cross scattering section. It's like, or the Thomson cross section. It's like, dog, like, ugh. This is once again, like, okay, sure, I guess we have this thing, 1 plus cosine squared theta, we integrate it over all the angles, and it pops out to be like, the 1 stays the 1, the cosine squared, like, because we make it spherical or something, it becomes like 1/3, and we get 4/3, it gets multiplied by 2 pi, 8 pi over, right? And it's like just all this like stuff, but I don't really, it's just kind of like, I need to sit down and do these problems, and I need to make sure I don't like fluke my way through this. Like I worry that like I don't know if this is something that I can fluke, and I don't know if it's something that like if I do end up like barely making it, I don't know if that's like good enough, right? Because I think I'm supposed to become seasoned at doing these things, at doing these back of the envelope calculations by being able to like look at something and say, oh yeah, the units don't work out, so surely I did the math wrong, or at least like being able to assemble something from like a bunch of equations that like are constantly in my mind, right? Like this isn't something that I just want to scrape by. This is something that I really want to like do well. But like can I actually do well if I cram for it like over what like 4 days and then just vomit everything out once candidacy happens and then just call it? I'm not sure, right? I guess it reminds me of one of my high school teachers would tell me that he was never too good at memorizing things. So he'd just like remember all of the equations before like the exam, and then once the exam comes around, he just vomit all the equations out on the first page, and then just kind of like be fine from here on out. But I I don't think that's something that I can do because I feel like I'm gonna get tried over like so many areas to where we like all these cheese strats that we know from prior. One aren't going to work, and two we probably don't want to actually implement those cheese strats, right? Like shortcuts aren't really going to. I guess. Well, I mean, I suppose like the whole point of like learning back of the envelope calculations is to be able to get better at shortcuts. But like I need to like learn to do shortcuts like the real way and not learn shortcuts for shortcuts. If, but maybe that's just like a wacky way of phrasing it. I don't know. Like I guess we're just kind of here, aren't we? We're staring down candidacy. It's a bit far away, but no, it's not far away at all. What do you mean? There's like I guess go to sleep, wake up, and there's gonna be sub 100 hours, man. Holy, jeez. Um, I don't know. I mean, I guess I have stuff on the mind, right? And I certainly am not feeling the best. I'm not sick or anything, right? There's just a lot of stuff going around in the mind, I suppose, about like how am I seen by other people? What's it all like? Yeah, how am I seen by other people? Am I valued if I don't like possess certain things, which I have, right? But these are all just kind of there's not really much time. I guess it's or I guess like I don't know. I guess I could talk about it, but if I talk about it, I feel like I'll draw this video out to like the 30-minute mark, and I don't really. Maybe I wouldn't do it justice, right? I'm kind of tempted to just like ship it off and save it for like some other time, but maybe I won't have the opportunity to, or maybe by the time like I guess candidacy is over and it all just kind of candidacy is over, winter break happens, and like maybe when I come back, I'll have like a fresh review on it, or I won't be at malding as much, and so I wouldn't then do it justice, I guess, like to talk about it then. I don't know. Like there's certainly some thoughts about how I guess I'm probably just like kicking myself over something that I can't control again, right? But I do wonder. It is I don't know. Maybe I'm like probably too much of a mixture of like self-aware and like too much of a mixture of feeling things and also self-aware to where like it's really difficult to talk about things. I want to say something, but it's like, oh wait, but I feel like I should provide context, or I feel like I should, also record down the criticism. And so like maybe this is kind of like what's happening while I'm doing the write-up, right? Because I guess while I'm doing the write-up, it's like, okay, well, we can say something, but then shouldn't we also mention the relevant questions? Shouldn't we also mention the things that we still have yet to address? And then I guess Prof has been saying stuff like, Green, there comes a point in time to where it's simply TMI. So you just have to omit things and cut it off and find a good place to stop and produce a deliverable, right? And once we have a deliverable, we can go from there, right? But first we need to make the deliverable, and then we need to see how other people receive it, right? But then I guess like once again we put on the self-aware mask. But isn't this channel supposed to be for future me, right? So does one future me care about a lot of this stuff? Yeah, I guess so. But if he doesn't actually end up listening to this again, if you do, jokes on you, or jokes on me, I guess. But yeah, who knows? I don't know. I guess it's probably just best to go to sleep right now and wake up and figure the rest of things out. I'm not really sure what I'm going to title this because I feel like this is just it's just a bit of a doozy, right? Just doing all sorts of stuff, going all over the place. I don't really have particular. I do have thoughts. I just don't really. I can't really sit down and gather them to where I feel like it'll be nice, right? But yeah, I don't know. I think my plans for. I think I'm gonna try to be a bit quirky, I suppose, and record like not like record, but just like get like a chunk of audio the night before candidacy, and then like record like after candidacy because I think that'll be pretty cool to see what happens, right? Or well, maybe it'll be interesting. Before it's just like the section right before candidacy is like, oh boy, I sure can't wait to see what happens next, and then like it just cuts, and then like you hear like, bros, it's over. um, yeah, I don't know. Guess we'll see what the title comes out to be. I'll figure one out in time, but for now, I guess it's really just a matter of sitting down and trying my best, right? I'll sleep when I'm done. Yeah, sure. All right, future me. I'll see you, I guess, in soon. Till then.